Hey, welcome everybody back here to the All Out Blitz podcast with Jeff and Brady. We are back today to honestly talk about quite a bit. We're going to touch on coaching changes that have happened since our last episode. We're going to touch on what happened. When was that? Thursday night, I want to say. NFL honors. So the awards that go out to NFL players, always right before the Super Bowl. And then, of course, to end off today's show, we're going to hit the big game that's going to happen in, I don't know, about 28 hours today, Saturday, February 7th. All Out Blitz podcast. Here we go. What's going on, Brady?
Oh, not a whole lot. And you were talking about before, it's been a little bit since we last recorded an episode, but thankfully it wasn't 2 years this time.
It kind of felt like it, honestly.
We're getting back in the swing here. We got a lot to talk about today, so that's always good. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun episode.
That's what I mean. Even when there's not a lot of games going on, there's always a ton of news. So there's always stuff to talk about. Of course, we don't have that luxury between work and all kinds of other things to be able to like hit stuff immediately as it comes out. But it's always kind of cool to see the outcome of just different pieces of news throughout the week. And then we get to think on them and bring them up and chat about them a little bit. Let's dive right into the coaching changes. Last episode, folks, we talked about Todd Monken. I mean, that was the really, really big move, being the head coach of the Browns. Somebody finally stepped up to take that spot. Over the past week, there have been quite a few moves, to be honest with you. And one I'm going to dig into a little bit here just because it's going to be more of a prediction because it's just going to be insane. So first one, and I believed we talked about this in the last episode, Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator, formerly of the Browns, has given his resignation, which I believe we talked about that before. Again, just getting looked over for that head coaching role. You had an amazing defensive coordinator that was actually interested and wanted to be your head coach, and you're like, nah, better not. Let's go get somebody else. So somebody that wants a DC, somebody that is in need, I think is going to scoop him up pretty quick. So not shocked, to be honest, but a great DC to be out there. Let's see here. Frank Reich. Everybody knows Frank Reich, old head coach of the Colts, hired as the offensive coordinator by the New York Jets. This was probably one of the smartest moves I think I've seen Aaron Glenn make in quite a while to try to bolster his coaching staff and get the players to buy in. Frank Reich is a coach that players get behind. So definitely a good sounding board for Aaron Glenn. Also, his success as head coach in this league already, I think is going to be a good opportunity for the Jets, hopefully, to pick it up this year a little bit. So what's your thoughts on that one? You think that's a good move?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of weird for me because the last time I remember Frank Reich was when he was the head coach of the Colts. So, and Colts didn't do that well that year. I don't know if it was Frank Reich. Maybe it was because Carson Wentz was a starting quarterback. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think the Jets are still a giant dumpster fire at the moment, but I don't know. Well, do you see Harrison Phillips, their defensive tackle? He said that place is like awful to be at, and he plays for the Jets. And he said that it's like, man, you got your own players on your own team, even saying like how bad it is over there. It's like that is bad. Yeah. So because players like they're always be like, oh no, man, over here is fantastic. Yeah, we love the coaches. I love my teammates and all that. I mean, if a player of your team says it's bad, that means it's bad.
Leader of your team.
Yeah, I was about to say he's experienced too. So he's been in the league for a while and he's been around some places, I think. So that's definitely something.
Yeah. And then one other big one I want to touch on, and this is the one that I want to get into a little bit. Let's preface it with this. Matthew Stafford at the NFL honors ceremony stated he is going to be back next season. So look for him to continue the reign that he had this year. But with that being said, Cliff Kingsbury is joining the Rams under head coach Sean McVay in a role that is not fully detailed yet, but I can only think a mix of Cliff Kingsbury and Sean McVay in offensive play calling is going to elevate that offense beyond, honestly, what I can even fathom at this point. If they can bring back Devontae Adams, of course, they'll have Puka, they'll have their running backs, they'll have their O-line, Stafford still being there. I think this has the potential to turn their offense into a juggernaut like we have not truly seen before. If you think the Chiefs over their reign, the past 10 years when they had really, really heavy and really, really good offenses, has the potential to blow them out of the water. That's how strongly I feel, honestly, about Kingsbury and McVay, two of the brightest offensive minds in the National Football League, honestly joining forces with an amazing just talent pool there with the Rams is going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's honestly, if he is gonna be in, like, an offensive coordinator, like, type role there, I think that's a really good move by them. I mean, it's Cliff Kingsbury. While he may not be the best head coach, he's definitely a really smart guy when it comes to offense. So, yeah, I mean, having a guy like Matthew Stafford who is not afraid to take chances whenever he's throwing a football, and majority of the time it works out. I think if the kind of a conversation is, can this offense be better than the offense when they won the Super Bowl? I think that's probably a conversation that could happen. And I think, honestly, in my opinion, it can be, because you gotta think about the running back situation. Back whenever they won the Super Bowl, that was who it was, Darrell Henderson or something like that, maybe? I'm trying to remember who the running backs were at the time. Uh, I think it was Cam Akers, maybe. It might have been Cam Akers. And then, yeah, I think it was like Cam Akers and, Darrell Henderson, I do believe was their running back room at the time, or their main running back guys. And during the Super Bowl, they could not get the run game moving whatsoever. And then if you go to, so their pass game was what the success was in the Super Bowl. You go and think back to their wide receiving room. The only receiver they had that was like head and shoulders above like everybody else in the league was Cooper Cup. And like he was fantastic whenever they won that year. And the other receivers they had were like Robert Woods and OBJ, I do believe. You have Puka Nakua, who is top 10 receiver, honestly top 3 receiver in my book. Someone else who's experienced and also fantastic is Devontae Adams. So honestly, I think just off the bat, like at face value, you already have a better receiving core because you have 2 top 10, honestly, top 15 guys as your top 2 receivers. So, no, honestly, it doesn't even matter who your wide receiver 3 is. But yeah, I mean, their O-line maybe isn't as good as what it used to be, obviously, without having like Big Wit and somebody else like that there. But yeah, I mean, I think the sky's the ceiling for this offense, honestly. I think they can be absolutely fantastic considering the fact that they have an even more experienced Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford who knows what winning an MVP feels like, knows what winning a Super Bowl feels like. And yeah, I mean, I think their offense can be even better than what it was whenever they won the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely. I think the running back core, to be honest with you, is a lot better. Kyron Williams is a much better back. I think the other piece of this too is not only is Sean McVay, I mean, one is he's an amazing play caller. He can get creative when he wants to be. He only teaches and coaches what they do best, though. Bringing Kingsbury in allows them to up that creativity in a system that they're all very, very familiar with. Tap into NFL draft here in a couple of months, where the Rams have 2 first-round picks because they got Atlanta's first-round pick from the trade last year for Atlanta to go jump back into the first round. So now they have 2 first-round picks that they can use to go get some more studs in the first round, make a trade to move up to go get somebody they really want, or use that as currency to go trade for someone else that is going to be a free agent or potential trade target. Like everybody's throwing around someone like a Max Crosby that will be out of the Raiders organization, it seems like. If you go and say, I'm going to give you 2 firsts this year and something else, it's going to be really, really hard to say no to. They are in an absolutely amazing spot and to be quite honest with you, are my favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. It's just such a difficult team to deal with always. Yes, they've lost to some bad teams, but really, I mean, the only place to go is up from here. And that was a very good, very difficult Rams team this year. So Kingsbury hire was an absolute win in my book. Was a Raheem Morris is now the DC with the Niners. So he teams back up with Kyle Shanahan out there in San Francisco. I think that was a good pickup for them. Raheem has always been a fantastic defensive coordinator. Head coach, not so much, but I do think he'll do some really good things there with the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, go back to with the Rams. I don't remember if it was the year they won the Super Bowl or not, but I remember Raheem Morris. He always was. I think this was the
He
year
was the
before
DC there too.
this was before he went to the Falcons. He was the DC with the Rams, and
Yeah,
everyone was
when they
like,
won.
"Oh man, Falcons just got a super defensive minded head coach. Man, their defense is going to be fantastic. Look how well that worked out." Aside from
It
this
was
year,
good. It
but
was good when Ulbrich took it over this year and really did
I was going to
something with
say
it. But
Ulbrich was probably the main thing there, but yeah, I mean, it's a good deal for the Niners. I mean, you get back Nick Bosa, you get back Fred Warner. Go,
hopefully they stay healthy.
yeah, obviously, but yeah, maybe go get some more guys in the draft. Maybe go. Just imagine they're like maybe like a dark horse to go get Max Crosby. Could you imagine that defense? Max Crosby, Nick Bosa, and Fred Warner all healthy. That would be
Yeah,
disgusting to go against.
yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a good signing for the Niners to go get someone like that.
yeah. It could be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they stay healthy. You get a really good team with the Niners there. But the Max Crosby sweepstakes is going to be fun to pay attention to. I heard the Lions are in the mix of that. Can you imagine him and Hutch together?
So great, so
Buffalo's
great.
in the mix. I mean, that really
They're not going to
amps up
get him.
their defense. They're not going to get him. I
They
know
don't get
that,
anybody they want.
but it's going to be interesting. I think, gosh, if he goes to Detroit and him and Hutch are together, you better look out. That's going to be nasty.
Fantastic.
So there's going to be some interesting things going on here in the offseason once things can really get moving. But that's really it for the coaching stuff. I think all the spots are filled, and I'm sure we'll have a couple little moving pieces as far as assistants and things like that to talk over if there's any big news there.
I was gonna
Let's
say, like, we do have the Raiders pretty much have their eyes set on
yes,
Clint Kubiak. That was the
true.
big one. That it's even though Clint Kubiak at the moment can't take the Raiders' job, that seems to be what is going to happen after the Super
Yes.
Bowl's over, regardless win or loss. It seems like Clint Kubiak is going to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, Monday, I'm sure Monday morning that'll be announced. He'll be on a flight Monday. Um, I'm sure to Vegas to go meet with the Raiders and finalize this thing. They've stopped interviewing people from my understanding as well. So I do think he is going to be the next head coach of the Raiders, which is a great pickup for them. Something a little bit different. The Raiders always usually go old school when it comes to things, but going with a new, younger offensive mind, I can't help but to think that was completely driven by one Tom Brady. Offensive minded, young, fresh new look on everything. Probably drafting Mendoza. It's going to be a brand new look for the Raiders next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the Raiders. I don't think they're going to make a jump like some teams do, where they go from like a 2-3 win team all the way to like a wild card team.
Not gonna be like
But
the
it's
Patriots from last year to this year.
exactly, yeah. It's like, I mean, it's you take a project quarterback like Sam Darnold, who was just coming off a pretty good season with the Vikings. You put him in Seattle, and it's like, gosh, dude, it's you look at the roster around him, man. It's like he's gonna have a rough time there, and he does fantastic, makes it to the Super Bowl. It's I would have to think Clint Kubiak is a big reason on why that happened. I understand the Raiders don't have the talent like a JSN or like a Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, like or Cooper Kupp or anything like that. But if they can mold a good quarterback, at least coming out of college, Fernando Mendoza, if they can mold him to be even somewhat similar to Sam Darnold, how he was this year, that could be a pretty fun offense over there in Vegas. Imagine they go trade for like AJ Brown or something like that. He's a big name. That's more than likely confirmed that he's going to be out of Philly after the season. So imagine they go and make a trade for like AJ Brown. I think that offense could get pretty scary.
Yeah, you got Genty back there that honestly didn't do half bad. He's got the rookie jitters out of his system now, so look for him to step it up. You got Brock Bowers. I mean, there's a lot of good pieces there with the Raiders, and getting a solid coach and staff in place. I think, to be honest, if I was Clint Kubiak, as soon as Jim Schwartz gave his resignation, I would have called him to be like, I'm going to go to the Raiders. You on board to be my DC, and then you bring Schwartz with you as the defensive coordinator there for Vegas. I mean, that would be
pretty
you
scary
can
staff.
change an organization with the right pieces very, very quickly. We tend to see that if it's going to work, it usually works fairly quickly. If it's not going to, it's going to be a failure from the beginning. It's very, very clear when things like that happen. Look when Dan Campbell went to Detroit. It wasn't an overnight success, but what was it, 2 years? Look at Vrabel to the Patriots. What was it, a year? You look at bad changes. Look at Aaron Glenn to the Jets. Look at Raheem Morris to the Falcons. It's all you immediately. You kind of get an idea of what that what's going to happen with that team. Year one, I think, looking at the Raiders, if they make some changes like that, man, it could be an interesting and a scary team, and maybe somebody that Max Crosby wants to stay for. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was just gonna bring it up because you're talking about teams. I'm pretty sure the Falcons did get better after Raheem Morris got there. Pretty sure
No, they didn't.
DQ's last season had like 4 wins, and the Raheem's first one had 7. But just gonna put
That's
that out there. But
okay, but they haven't made the playoffs at all, so I don't want to hear anything.
well, it's you also gotta
They're
look at the
garbage.
division they've been
This
in
year,
too.
this year they will make it. I'll tip my hat on that one. That's Falcons are making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, like the Lions, the first year Dan Campbell was there was like 3-13. Second year, I had like 10 wins, maybe.
Yeah, playoffs.
Then, yeah, freaking Vrabel. Patriots had like 4 wins, maybe even 3 wins last year. This year, they're in the Super Bowl. That's like
Yeah,
that's a pretty fast rebuild. The Jets are still the Jets, regardless of Aaron Glenn, honestly. And
the Jags with Cohen, like
the Jags with Cohen, yeah, they go
when
from
it's gonna work. It's very visible these
they
days.
go from like a 5-win team to making the wild card round. Like, yeah, man, it really does depend on the right staff. And I think if you want an incentive to try and help to get Max Crosby to stay, you'd go get Jim Schwartz. Because you could see what he did in Cleveland with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett just won Defensive Player of the Year. You're telling me Max Crosby wouldn't want that?
Yeah,
So he's already getting
and
paid
he's
a
very
boatload of money
capable.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very capable of it
Yeah, he's
too.
already getting paid a boatload of money. So it's like if you try and trade him, it's like you got to worry about the contract then. It's like you're going to be paying a crap load of money to a guy that's not even on your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good and you're bad.
Yep. Well, let's jump into the next segment. Let's talk about NFL honors and the award winners from this past season. You've touched on a few of them already. Of course, Matthew Stafford won the night, was the MVP of the 2025 season. Drake May lost by 1 vote. It's been the closest MVP race in a long, long time.
I think it was since like 1990 or something like that. I think maybe.
Yeah,
Like
it was
it's
pretty crazy. I
been a
mean,
while.
there's so many ways you can spin how these awards go. There's a couple of them, of course, that I don't agree with. Not that my opinion matters at all. I do believe Matthew Stafford deserved to win that. I mean, his schedule was much more difficult. He is much older, didn't have as strong of a defense to go help him win some games. As you can see in the playoffs, to be honest with you, over the course of the playoffs, Stafford has done much, much better than Drake May. May has honestly struggled the past couple games, had to use his legs to get him out of spots, which is good. He's a young quarterback. He should be able to do that, but he's struggled throwing the game, even in bad weather. I get that, but Stafford has definitely, in my opinion, played heads above what Drake May has and definitely deserved that MVP award this year.
No, yeah, 100%. It's like even if you want to go to like where all the nerds do it, it's like go look at the stats. Matt Stafford had a load better stats than what Drake May did. Had a bunch more touchdowns on I think maybe like 1 or 2 more interceptions, and then had over like a couple hundred more yards than what Drake May did. It's like, dude, you want to go to the stats route? It's like Matt Stafford should have unanimously won this. So, yeah, I mean, Stafford definitely deserves it. I think his first ever MVP at 37 is kind of crazy, but
It really is.
it's yeah, man. 100%. I think honestly, he would have been my pick to win that anyways. I mean, I think in a sense, is it kind of surprising Drake May didn't win Offensive Player of the Year? Sure, but you look at who did win it, it's like, it's I think maybe the other guy probably should have won Offensive
It's
Player of the Year over Drake May.
yeah, the MVP race is very, very close. And talking stats, like Stafford led the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns this year. He had a little over 4,700 yards passing with 46 touchdowns. May had just shy of 4,400 yards with 31 touchdowns. He had 15 less touchdowns. They both had 8 interceptions.
Okay.
So, of course, you look at things like completion percentages, passer ratings. May is better in both of those categories, and he was able to run the ball. Drake May led the league in completion percentage and passer rating. Now, was that easier throws? Was that keeping it a little more simple for him? He can make all the throws. But a key talking point we're going to leverage throughout when we talk about our preview for this game coming up tomorrow is the Patriots don't have of explosive passing plays. They really don't. They leverage their tight ends. They leverage their backs. Wide receivers are used pretty well, but a lot of them are snag routes, crossing routes, shallows, all different kinds of things to get them in space to go make a move, which is fantastic for a young quarterback. Matthew Stafford, however, they have explosive plays. They have Puka. They have Adams. They stretch the field. So there's a big difference in game planning, which to me, honestly, can go into a lot of that conversation of who won and why. Let's talk offensive player of the year, wide receiver for the Seahawks, JSN. I don't think anybody deserved it more than him. If you want to, I would be a homer and say Bijan just for what he was able to do. Everybody knows he's special, but for JSN to do it this year and his team's in the Super Bowl, I think it was only right. Phenomenal wide receiver, just everywhere. Short routes, deep routes, intermediate, just a massive weapon and key contributor to that offense.
Mind you, two, maybe even 1 year ago, this guy was the wide receiver 3 on his team, and he's now leading the NFL in receiving yards and winning Offensive Player of the Year, and he's in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think this dude probably should have won. This dude should have, and thankfully did win Offensive Player of the Year. Uh, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I don't see anyone else that's even like near his level. Maybe some people. I don't. If I'm trying to think about it, it's like I don't even know who you could argue, like seriously argue, who should have won it over JSN. It's like,
I
yeah,
don't
like you
know.
said, maybe Bijan, and it's like, well, that's looking at the team though. Like, what did he actually do at the end of the day? That's the way that I look at it, and it's like, you want to go that way, sure, but if you look at what he did with the team that was around him, it's no one was more deserving than JSN. It's like, and this isn't me taking a dump on Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold was his quarterback, and he was able to do what he did. So I mean, yeah, it's 100% deserved for JSN.
Yeah, he led the league in yards. He was just shy of 1,800 yards, 10 touchdowns. He averaged 15 yards a reception. He averaged over 100 yards per game. It's just absolutely phenomenal with what he did. And you look at, like I said, you look at somebody like Bijan. He was 4th in rushing yards. That right there is not going to get it done. James Cook, by the way, for the Bills, led the league in rushing yards. Was not even in the category, which is just absolutely bonkers. For Bijan, I mean, he set a Falcons single season record for his total yards from scrimmage, which was like 2,300. So it's just interesting to see. But to touch on Darnold a little bit too, as we're talking about awards, why wasn't he in the conversation of MVP? That's what I'd like to know. I'll pull up his stats here in a second while you're chatting about it. But the people that were going to be up for this award were already sent out. You know what I mean? Like weeks before Darnold kind of really went off in the playoffs. They were 14-3, and he's coming from a different team. How is he not in that conversation? Because I honestly feel like that would have been a tighter race between Stafford and Darnold than even what Drake May was.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to who was all in the MVP conversation. I believe Christian McCaffrey was one of the MVP
Yeah.
finalists.
Yep.
Why? Like, I understand what he did's fantastic. He's already in 2 other categories with Offensive Player of the Year and
Yeah.
Comeback Player of the Year. And we even said on the podcast, I think it was last episode, Sam Darnold 100% was a dark horse to win MVP because
Yeah.
of how well he did in a first-year situation. And it's like, he's like and like you said, he's just coming off of being on a different team where they honestly kinda got screwed out of the playoffs. Like, I just yeah, I agree with you. I don't know how he's not at least in the conversation along
I
with
know it's I know it's stats, but there's no reason why he shouldn't have been in there over like a Christian McCaffrey. And I love McCaffrey, but he's also in Offensive Player of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year. Like, what else can he be in? I mean, Darnold was 5th in the NFL with over 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, which was ninth, and he threw 14 picks. So is it great? Not really when you look at May and you look at um, Stafford and you look at some others, but like, are they or are they not in the Super Bowl? Was he leading them consistently throughout this season when they needed him most? That's I think some of these awards are a little crazy about how people get tossed in there.
yeah, and like I was saying earlier, or as I was gonna say earlier, I think James Cook was also a snub for Offensive Player of the Year. Like, I
For
can't
sure.
believe that he wasn't in that. It's like I said, I don't remember. I'd have to pull it up or something, but I don't remember who all the finalists were for Offensive Player of the Year. But you're telling me though the guy with the most rushing yards isn't at least in the top 5 of your consideration for Offensive Player of the Year? Do you see the stuff that he did in Buffalo? You see the massive jump he had from last year to this year when it came to rushing? It looked like it
Yeah.
was a whole different person this year. And it's
Yeah.
like it's yeah, I don't know, man. I just the
That's
awards are kinda
because Drake
funky.
Drake May shouldn't have been in both. We talked about that
Yeah,
last
absolutely.
time is Drake May should not be because then why wasn't Stafford in Offensive Player of the Year? Like it just makes absolutely zero sense when you have two focused items like this, like MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. It's just it drives me nuts. Let's not get too much more into that because we can go for hours, I think. The next one you touched on already, Myles Garrett wins Defensive Player of the Year. It's hard not to give it to him when he just got the sack record this year. Regardless of how his team is doing, the dude's motor never stops. He just goes out every single play, every single game, gives it everything he's got, and it shows. I don't really think there was another option for Defensive Player of the Year.
No, I mean, it's like I can't honestly think of any other defensive player. It's like I think honestly, even regardless of if he got the sack record or not, I think regardless, I think he still would have won. Because who is better just on defense in general? Because if you're going that route, it's like, okay, well, you got to think about different positioning groups. Who is the best at this position? Okay, who made the most impact out of their group then? And it's like, I just at the end of the day, I think Myles Garrett probably is the best defensive player in football. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think he 100% deserved the defensive player of the year.
Let's go offensive rookie of the year, Tet McMillan from the Panthers. I mean, amazing stat line this year, of course. Is a very, very solid wide receiver coming in as a rookie. To be honest with you, I'm not sure everybody else that was in this category. What's your thoughts on Tet getting that?
Um, I want to finish. I want to just toss something in with the MVP talks just before we move on here. I'm sorry, I'm still hanging
Okay.
on to it, but
You're good.
it's
You're good.
how the heck was Drake May in this conversation and Jared Goff wasn't? How is Trevor Lawrence in this conversation and Jared Goff wasn't? Jared Goff played better, had better stats even than both Drake May and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, more touchdowns, less interceptions. He had the same amount of interceptions Drake May did, and 3 more touchdowns and about 200 more yards. And he wasn't even considered? Really? Anyways, just
They
wanted
didn't
to
make
put
the
that out there.
playoffs.
If that's what we're basing it on, then let's just have
I'm
the
just
let's have
saying, I think in order to get an award at that level, you got to be in the postseason somewhere. That's my thought on why he wasn't in that conversation.
you can go the route of okay, well, Myles Garrett shouldn't have won then. The Browns weren't in the playoffs. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, but
like
he won,
it's
he beat a league record. That's a whole different.
there's a whole bunch of technicalities here, I think, with these records. I
Absolutely,
think there's
dude.
so many technicalities. It's not even funny. Yeah,
You're right.
moving on.
You're right.
Offensive Rookie of the Year going to Ted McMillan. We had this conversation because I was telling you who all won the awards initially, but
Yeah.
I originally said I think this was a little bit of a weird pick, but then I looked it up. It's okay. He has over 1,000 yards. He had good amount of touchdowns. That's like, okay, well, you know what? Once I look back at it and I got to understand the situation a little bit more, I think he definitely deserved it. I know people are throwing fits. So, oh, it should have been Jackson Dart. Should have been. Should it? Should it have been
What did they
Jackson
do?
Dart?
What did they do?
Exactly. What
Like,
did he even do? I think he
yeah,
might not even have gotten 3,000 yards.
yeah.
How many touchdowns did he? It's like, yeah, it's like majority of stuff like was. Do we go down the road of? Do you think Cam Scatabo should have got it over Jackson Dart?
Most concussed duo in the NFL,
Yeah,
Dart and
exactly.
Scatabo.
Those concussions. Honestly, when going on the road, it'd been like, did Cam Scatabo deserve it more than Jackson Dart? It's like, I don't know.
All right. What do we got next? Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carson Schwessinger of the Cleveland Browns.
This made you excited whenever I first told you.
Stud of the linebacking core as a rookie for the Browns. However, I will be a homer with this. He also had Myles Garrett on his team. It should have went to James Pierce from Atlanta, an undersized defensive end that led rookies in sacks this year. Schwessinger's biggest stat was his assisted tackles, where it wasn't even done all by himself. Do not get me wrong. I think this dude is going to be a stud for a long time. But Defensive Rookie of the Year should have gone to James Pierce. His stats, no, they were not near what Schwessinger's was, but a linebacker compared to a defensive end, you also have to look at the differences there. Pierce was an absolute monster. And you look at him and you swear he would be some sort of hybrid safety linebacker, not a defensive end that is destroying any offensive tackle in this league.
I was going to question you for a second because what did you mean whenever you said Carson Schwessinger had Myles Garrett? Like what did that mean?
What did that mean? Is they are double and triple teaming Myles Garrett, which is leaving clear gaps and openings for linebackers to go make plays on the defensive side of the ball for the Browns. So is he opportunistic? Absolutely. Did him having Myles Garrett take up half the offensive line assist with him getting so many tackles? Absolutely. It's a circumstance of their situation.
Yeah,
Look at Atlanta's defense. Atlanta and Cleveland were not far off from each other this year. Very similar situation.
I understand where you're coming from for that situation. I do think though that at the end of the day they're just going based off of what that single player did, not every component that was added into it.
I agree. They do take a lot of different things into consideration. Like you look at the snub of Belichick not getting into the Hall of Fame. And the news around that is because of, Deflategate and Spygate, and that kind of stuff is not supposed to be taken into account in your Hall of Fame situation or award situation. He was already penalized for those. And look at me sticking up for Bill Belichick. But I mean, that's a joke in itself, to be honest with you. Like, that dude's not in the Hall of Fame. But I think when you're handing out what you want to be awards that truly mean something, you have to take everything into account. You have to. You cannot leave anything up to the imagination. And regardless, right? Not everybody's going to be happy. Do I believe Schlesinger deserved it? I do. He was, like I said, he's a phenomenal linebacker. But I think this again comes down to, like, if we're going to talk about Stafford and May, there were things that were so close. For James Pierce to get, what did he get? I think he got 3 votes only or something like that. The voters are out of their mind when you look at the list of people that were there for defensive rookie of the year. It's just sometimes I wonder where they get people and their thought process behind these things.
One thing I do want to change now that I'm fully looking at all the finalists for all these, I would like for the voters to stop adding players solely because of their name.
Yes.
Like
Thank
for
goodness.
my examples here. Number 1, with MVP. No disrespect to Drake May. I love Drake May. I've only talked highly of Drake May. He should not have been in the MVP conversation. Just because he was the quarterback of a team that did really good from a really crappy team last year doesn't mean anything. Okay, how about coach of the year? How about that? And rightfully so where it went because of how he turned the team around. Let's put Drake May in another year with Jared Mayo. Let's see how that turns out. Is he going to be in the MVP conversation? Probably not. So I think, honestly, the coach made the Patriots that good. Moving on to another one here. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Abdul Carter being in here. I don't know if we just ran out of defensive rookies who are possible to be in this. He did nothing. But he had less than like 10 to 5 sacks on the year, I think.
Wasn't he sat or suspended as well?
He did because he something during like a meeting or something like that. He was benched a week.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
it's
going
like,
to talk about what that was. I don't want to bring it up on here. It's not cool, but
I
I
don't even
mean,
know. It's just, man, I don't know. I'm gonna try and
yeah.
look at his stats quickly as possible here, but yeah, I mean, like he didn't. He had, oh my goodness, what was it? Let's see. He had 4 sacks on the year and 43 combined tackles. 4 sacks.
I wonder how many snaps he played.
He played a down, or at least one down, he got benched for 2 weeks, mind you, in week 6 and week 10. Every other game, he played at least one down. So he did not play for 2 games. And he played, let me try and think about it. He played 15 games. 15 games. He accumulated 4 sacks and 43 combined tackles. And that gets you a Defensive Rookie of the Year nod. Are you kidding me?
So he averaged roughly 2.5 combined tackles per game.
Yes.
Per game.
That gets you a Defensive Rookie of the Year nod. 4 sacks and 43 combined tackles. That's solo and assisted. He had 23 solo tackles. Mind you, this guy was, what was he? Was he like a top 10?
He was the 3rd pick of the draft.
3rd overall pick. He got 2 Defensive Rookie of the Year nod because he was the 3rd overall pick. If he was like pick 25 or something like that, guarantee he would not be in this. Because 4 sacks. You go with what you're saying.
So Schlesinger, 156 combined tackles. 89 of those were assists. He had 2.5 sacks and 2 interceptions. Amazing on the tackles list. It really is. Like, you're breaking 150 tackles in a year. I think it's fantastic. I'm trying to look up really quick. Like, I don't know. Like, we talk about Abdul Carter, like he was drafted 3rd.
Schlesinger was a 2nd-round pick. I don't know
what he was?
What pick exactly, but I remember seeing the graphic. He was a 2nd-round pick.
Okay. So it's not bad. I mean,
no, I mean,
he was 30 overall. So it was right at the top of the 2nd.
I was going to say, though, you expect 2nd-round picks to do stuff, though, as well. It's not like with like
crazy.
A 6th-round pick or something. It's like you expect 2nd-round picks to do something.
Yeah.
He, like, honestly, I'd say did better than what his expectations were.
Yeah, like James Pierce, right? I mean, Atlanta moved back into the 1st round to take him with the 26th. So he was likely going to go around the same time that that Schlesinger would have went. So they're very, very similar. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy the way that they choose things. It is what it is. It's not going to change their career trajectory whatsoever. It's just hopefully things don't start to get too crazy where it like taints these awards, kind of like what they do with the Pro Bowl right now, right? Like, I don't think that Pro Bowl is going to be around for another 2 years and you're just going to get rid of it. Let's talk about comeback player of the year. That goes to Christian McCaffrey. This is another award too that I don't quite understand. Like, what did he come back from? Being injured again?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm pretty sure that's where that stands too, because I know a lot of like comeback player of the years. It's like half of them are just like they just weren't good last year, but they were good this year, and that gets them a comeback player of the year. It's like, what are you coming back from? Sucking? Like,
I could see, like, let's say for example, what was it the other year when was it Alex Smith won it? It was a little while ago, but he came back from like almost dying from his busted leg. Like,
yeah, he earned that award.
Or if Carson Wentz would have went off when he came back from screwing himself up, that is a comeback.
Yes.
Christian McCaffrey being injured is a yearly thing. And he had a phenomenal year. Don't get me wrong. But when you have guys get injured every other year and they're out and then they finally come back and have a good year, are we not more creative than that, people? Like, do we just have to choose from very, very little? I mean, I don't know. It's weird, man. I think they make up so many awards just to like have a good evening. You know what I mean? Like with giving stuff out.
Yeah,
But it
and
almost feels like we're starting to have awards. Let's just go. Participation trophy, right? That happens in youth sports all the time. Let's try to make these things meaningful again. Kind of like going to the Hall of Fame.
well, even then, there's some guys in the Hall of Fame that shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame. But
No,
just
but they were
look,
great in their time. But when you look at it now, it's like they're bottom 50. Like they shouldn't be there.
some weren't even great in their time. Let's just talk about Joe Namath for a second, but we're gonna move on to the comeback player of the year, though. Like, why was Stephon Diggs a nod for comeback player
I
of the
have
year?
no idea. Because he got injured late.
Like that doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense. Why was
I know.
Diggs a comeback player of the year? No one on the Patriots should have gotten an award nod this year. They were a fantastic team. I think 98% of it was Mike Vrabel. He's a fantastic coach.
Vrabel should have been up for an award, and he was. But
We
outside
won
of
it too,
that,
thankfully. But
yeah, which I don't even know if I agree with that one still, but whatever.
well, let's see.
Coach of the year, Mike Vrabel. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough when you look at it. Him and Mike McDonald, they have their teams in the Super Bowl, both 14-3. Both were not crazy good last year. You look at Liam Cohen, another guy, took his team somewhere. There's a lot of Ben Johnson, I think, got like one vote. I'm assuming it's for his attitude and garbage that he spews from his mouth all the time. But like there's so many good options out there for that.
Why is
Like
Kyle Shanahan a nod?
why was Shanahan in there? He's never coach of the year. All he does is choke. Like, I'm going to go off on a crazy tangent, so I'm going to stop myself.
They
But
barely even
why
did
was he there?
good. Like, they barely even did good enough this year to get a nod. Then they got smacked around by Seattle in the divisional round.
My gosh, that was
It's like,
fantastic
and
to
you
watch.
barely beat the Eagles, and
Yeah.
then you got smacked around by the Seahawks in the divisional round. It's like, what? This is another one. Why was Shanahan a nod here? It's
No
like,
idea.
I don't know. It's just it's kind of weird because it's like usually majority of coach of the years, majority of them usually are guys that are first time and they do stuff that's very well, which are very deserving because it's like if you turn a team from crap to good, you should
Yeah.
get something for that.
Yep.
So yeah, I like Liam Cohen, Mike McDonald, Vrabel. It's like Ben Johnson, like all those guys. Yeah, they should have at minimum gotten a nod, but it's like, come on, man. What did Shanahan seriously do
No
to even
idea.
get to this spot? Like we
No
we need
idea.
to start a protest online or something to be like someone fix the voters or something, man. Like say we're
This
gonna
is so
start a
great.
petition, get a GoFundMe going, and we're gonna change this thing all around.
AP assistant coach of the year goes to Josh McDaniels.
Here's a new one.
He's only been in the same position for 307 years.
Here's a participation trophy.
It drives me crazy, dude. Like, come on already. That's why I feel like you wonder why people talk about the NFL and how they think it's rigged.
I
Come on.
honestly forgot.
Are they just going to win the Super Bowl right now too, and just let's give them that too, and they can have a great day
At
because the
this
Patriots
point, we
are
may
back.
as well make that the prediction because why did Clint Kubiak not win this?
Boom.
Heck, why did Brian Flores not win this? Like,
Yes.
My goodness, dude. Vance Joseph, whatever. Vic Fangio, whatever. But like Clinton Kubiak didn't win it for how fantastic he is getting a head coaching job next year, and he did not
Yeah.
win that. We knew
Yep.
beforehand. We knew before this event even happened that he was going to get a head coach. He was getting head coaching calls, and he still didn't
Yes.
win it. Drake May has played like doo-doo in the playoffs, and oh yeah, his OC, he wins it. Like
Oh, this is so much fun. I wish we could do NFL honors every week.
What is this award show, man? This award show is a joke. Oh my goodness. And then
I don't know. Did you see Big Dion Dawkins get up and start dancing though? It was pretty awesome.
I didn't even watch the award show. I just wanted to know what happened afterwards. I don't like
I
to
watched
involve
a little
myself
bit
in
of it,
this.
and somehow I turned it on, and he got up and was dancing. It was phenomenal.
Now I did there was another award. It went to like best like offensive lineman or something like
Yes.
that, I think. That was won by Joe Tooney. I think rightfully deserved. Again, I think it's
The Protector of the Year award, and it was the first year for this award.
I think it was a participation trophy at the end of the year. But if anyone did deserve to win it, I think it was Joe Tooney. He was fantastic. He played left guard for the Bears all year. And then in the game against the Packers, he needed to move to left tackle. I think it was the game. No, it was the game in the divisional round against the Rams. He needed to move to left tackle, and he still did perfectly fine. So, yeah, I think
that's a tough move.
That.
Yeah. Let's talk about one that's actually important. The Walter Payton Man of the Year award goes to Bobby Wagner for the Commanders. This is probably my favorite award because you get to see the difference that these guys are making in their community because there are so many of them. Of course, one from every team gets the nod, but there's so many that don't get the nod that do so many unbelievable things in their community. Their speeches that they give are usually my favorite part of that entire night. I remember like when Big Wit did his a couple of years ago, it's probably the best speech I've ever heard on a sports award show. Bobby Wagner certainly didn't disappoint. And, congratulations to him on that award. That's always a fantastic award that is held in such high regard across the league that, to be honest with you, it seems it's more important than the MVP. It's more important than the Rookie of the Years. Um, that's always kind of my favorite to watch is who wins that and kind of what comes out of it. So congrats to Bobby Wagner though. All these years in this league, man, and he gets an award like this. I just think it's phenomenal for him.
100% agree with you. I mean, at the end of the night, this is the award that means the most. Like, because at the end of the day, what these players do, they play a game. Bobby Wagner is making a difference in his community in a good way. And it's like 100%. It's like, back whenever I was a Seahawks fan, I've loved Bobby Wagner since then. And it's like, man, it's just, he's just such a good, humble dude. And like, we need more Bobby Wagners in the world. Like he's such a great guy. He's such a great guy. And that's why I think this award's fantastic because it puts the respects on the people that try their best to stay humble, and it puts a spotlight on them and saying, "Hey, look how great this person is." And I think that 100%, like every single person, if every single person nominated for this, I think should give themselves a pat on the back because they're all just fantastic people at the end of the day, and that's what matters most at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, congrats to Bobby Wagner, 100% deserved the award.
Awesome, man. I'll tell you what, that was probably one of the best. I don't know if it was best. Hopefully the people listening agree or watching agree, but it was a fun segment to do to talk about NFL honors.
That was one of the things.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You can give your thoughts first.
I don't know if it's because I'm drinking a soda and I got sugar rushing through my veins, but man, that seriously infuriated me for a second because I don't understand how some people were not even nominated for the positions that they were in. I don't get it. Why was Stephon Diggs for comeback player of the year? He's never left. He's just been bad. At the end of the day, Jared Goff was flat out better than Drake May. Okay. James Cook not even being top 5. Are you kidding? He made such a giant offense to that a giant difference to that Bills offense. Like, I don't get it. Abdul Carter had 4 sacks and he got a nod for defensive rookie of the year. Beyond me.
Craziness. Absolute craziness. Let's shift to Super Bowl 60.
Yes.
Seattle, New England, rematch. I don't really look at it as a rematch. Both of these teams are so much different. Every single thing, top to bottom, other than the owners, are different. Yeah, it's going to be, I truly believe it's going to be a defensive game. Both teams have absolutely phenomenal defenses against the run, against the pass. The Seahawks are favored in this, I think, depending who you talk to. And I think there's a lot of fun matchups that we could talk about. You, of course, look at the QB differences, Sam Darnold, Drake May, who's going to come out on top. You know, the news got spilled in the last couple of days during media week that Christian Gonzalez is going to be heavily shadowing JSN all game. Now, of course, if they go in motion, these are words that came out of a DB's mouth for New England. But if they go in, if he goes in motion, then he's sure he would have to cover them, which means they are going to play a heavy zone defense. Shift JSN as much as you want. JSN will find ways to get open. It's really not a big deal. Christian Gonzalez, absolute stud, really, really good at jamming guys off the line, very, very good at trailing guys when he gets, I don't want to say when he gets beat, but when he gets, if he gets a double move put on him or something like that, very, very quick, very shifty, can catch back up in no time. I think that's going to be a phenomenal matchup to watch. And then, of course, you look at the matchup between Mike Vrabel and Mike McDonald, both so heavy in the defensive side of things. It's going to be quite the battle that we get to watch tomorrow. I don't think there's a potential in this game for any kind of blowout. I think it's going to be a very, very hard fought matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic, honestly. And it's to piggyback off what you were saying about they're going to be playing like a zone defense there. I think that is a bad move to do that against Seattle. You got fantastic route runners like JSN and Cooper Cup, guys who can pick and sit in a zone and just wait for a ball to come flying towards them. And Sam Darnold knows how to put a ball in someone's chest. I think playing a zone defense is a bad move there. I mean, like, do you want to play man? It's like I think man probably at the end of the day probably might be better. It's like, yeah, you might have to put someone on an island. Okay, have a safety shadow over top then. Like, just force short stuff all day. If I'm the Patriots, that's what I'm going to do. And then, yeah, I mean, it's going off what you said of Seattle being the heavy favorites here. How could they not be? And before we get into the picks here, I do want to go off what you said at the beginning about it being a rematch between the Patriots and the Seahawks. I don't treat it as a rematch either. These are two completely different teams since the last time they faced off.
I mean, it was like 12 years ago.
It was over a
You're not
decade
the
ago,
same.
but it's just the same team. And they're like, oh, a rematch. It's not a rematch.
No.
It's Tom Brady's not playing. Russ ain't
it's
playing.
It's only a rematch because Marshawn didn't run it from the one. That's it.
They should sign Marshawn Lynch, and if they get on the 1 yard line, they should just give it to him and just let him go score.
Yes.
I think that'd be fantastic. I saw people saying they're like, well, if you think they get to the 1 yard line and they actually do run it, but then Kenneth Walker fumbles and then something like that. And I'm like, oh man, could you imagine? Yeah. I mean, you got to think of the picks here. I'm 11-1. You are
7-5.
7-5. I got to put my record on the line here. Neither of these teams have let me down anytime I've picked them in the playoffs so far. And yeah, I'm going to stick with my guns here, and I'm going to go Seattle. I think I'm going to stick with what I said. Seattle is just too good of a team to bet against them. I think this is Seattle's year. SN gets a ring. Cooper Cup adds another ring to his trophy case. Sam Darnold, out of all the quarterbacks in the 2018 class, gets the first Super Bowl ring out of the whole class, and that's fantastic to see. Yeah, I mean, I just even on a personal level, I just love Seattle so much that it's so great to see them in a Super Bowl, And man, and Seattle, they're just too good of a team to bet against them. And the Patriots we go down a little bit on like how they've played and whatnot. The Patriots have not played nearly as good as what Seattle did. I think if we get Rams Patriots in the NFC Championship round, I think the Rams are smoking the Patriots all day, every day. whether it be in heavy snow or not. Seattle's too good of a team to just bet against them.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's going to be like both of these teams have no issue playing in close games. It's not like one's going to panic, one's going to lose it. I do think whoever wins this game is going to be the team that forces the other team to abandon their game plan. And I think Seattle is going to force New England to abandon their plan. Seattle is very flexible in what they do, right? They run the ball, they pass the ball, their defense controls the game, and they have takeaways. They can lean, run heavy, they can slow the clock down. Seattle loves playing the field position game, and they let the defense dictate what happens. They don't really need to pivot regardless of what happens, whether they need to control the game or they need to come and have a comeback to make something happen. New England loves to grind out wins. They like to control the tempo, but I think they like to control the tempo because they lack explosive plays. Seattle is an explosive offense when they need to be. New England has not shown that yet this year. So I think Seattle is going to force New England to abandon their game plan at some point. And Seattle, again, I think is to go along with you. I think Seattle's winning this game. Like I said, I do think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be anything extraordinary.
Like Seattle, Denver when it ended like 40 to whatever it was, like 40
it's
to
not
8
going
or
to be
whatever
that.
it was.
It's, I mean, so my pick is Seattle. I could see them winning this game like 23-17, something like that. We're going to have some points. We're going to have some points on the board, but defense, honestly, is going to show up and show out in this game. But I'm taking Seattle, man. I think that's who wins this one.
Yeah, 100%. And I realized I didn't give my score. I'm going to go back to the first ever Seattle Patriots. I'm going to take Seattle winning 28-24. I think it'd be pretty great to see Seattle be on the other side of that score this time instead of Seattle losing 28-24. I think they'll win 28-24. And I think even for this game, I think honestly that could be a pretty realistic score, honestly.
Yeah. Yep. It absolutely can be. I think it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be stressful for those Seahawks and those Patriots fans. But all in all, I think it's a solid game for the final game of the year, which is definitely a sad thing to say, but the offseason has me excited looking at all the moving pieces. I mean, you look at a third of the teams almost have new coaches. That's got to be a record, for the I don't even know how long since that's happened, but so many awesome things happening. We're both taking Seattle to win. I don't know. I'm excited about the game tomorrow. I think it's going to be fun. I am not excited about the halftime show, so I will not be watching that. The halftime shows for the past decade have been garbage.
And that's not true. Barring the Bengals Rams one, where there was like 50 Cent,
Dre and Snoop and all those. Yes, you're correct. That is
barring that.
Yes, agree. 100%. That one was phenomenal, but the rest honestly have been absolutely terrible. I don't know where they decide to come up with this stuff, but I'm sure it has to do with the location. This, of course, is being played out in San Francisco at Levi Stadium. So I'm sure that has something to do with it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this game, but also equally excited for the offseason to get here and really start to see how these teams with new leadership and new roles start to mold themselves. And also, I really feel like there's going to be a lot of players on the move when the time comes, especially draft night. I think we're going to see some interesting things happen. So yeah, let's go Hawks. And if that happens, that would make you 12-1 and me 8-5. So
12-man.
I'm running with the record of the Atlanta Falcons here, dude. Like almost good enough to be there, but we're going to go home early. And anyway, but anything else to add?
I do want to add this just because of this happened. Let's have a little bit of a serious conversation here for a second.
Okay.
For all the listeners and viewers out here that are new to the podcast, we have never vocally discuss this on the podcast, and should we have done it more? Yes. Me and my dad and the rest of my family are all Christians. We all believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. We all believe that Jesus Christ died for all of our sins. It
Amen.
was really cool to see all the players during their interviews this week during Super Bowl week talking about their love and their passion for Jesus Christ as well. It was a really, really cool thing to see because of how much the media nowadays just really likes to shut that down for whatever reason. It was really cool to see that they get to like vocalize that and have such a big platform and have such a big name and a big voice that for that one of the first things I like to vocalize is how much they're like how big their love is for Jesus Christ. Like that's such a it's such a just a really cool thing to see. And in a world right now where God's needed more than ever, it's like it's really cool just to see something like that happen.
I agree. I do believe you're starting to see it a lot more. And I
Oh,
think
100%. Yeah.
that is a mixture of media, social media. Of course, you see so many just disgusting things on there, to be honest with you. So many things that do not need to be publicized, vocalized. Social media is great for what it is. It allows people to have a voice, which is what our country always stood for. Doesn't really mean you should say everything you want though. But no, I agree. And to be honest with you, dude, and I'm happy you brought this up because it's not something that we discussed before. But for me personally, being able to see you talk about this so openly is a blessing in itself to really just to see, you've talked about it before on other podcasts and or other videos you do and things like that. But, being not afraid, not anxious to really talk about your love for Jesus or your faith or our faith. No, it's awesome to see and I love to see it. So you keep doing you. You'll definitely see blessings come upon you just for spreading the good word here. And definitely see it's something that, we understand it's not everybody's forte, but it is ours and something that it's really a foundation of who we are. And, we definitely don't force or push it on anyone. That is something that you and you alone have to decide if you are going to take that leap of faith and put your belief in Jesus and, walk that life through the good and the bad. So it's important to, you know, if you got to take your time and think about it and work on it, we'll definitely pray for you and hopefully you come to that realization of how important that is and he is within your life. So, but appreciate you bringing that up, dude. I do. I think it's cool to see in the interviews. You always see in the interviews post game, like you saw Mendoza do it after the Natty. A lot of sports players are really starting to vocalize about that and show their strength and courage to have a conversation when, yes, religious beliefs are not widely discussed because that's not the way things were. This also isn't the same time as it used to be. So everybody needs to talk about it more, be open about it, have an open mind when you talk to people is the most important thing. Don't immediately unfriend someone in life because of a belief. Have a discussion, have communication with them. It doesn't negate a friendship, it doesn't negate a relationship. But yeah, good
Yeah.
conversation.
It's and another thing I wanted to bring up too is I want to give a quick shout out to the music artist Jelly Roll. He was talking about it. He has such a massive platform as a massive singer. We both are pretty big fans of Jelly Roll. We like his
Yeah.
music and to see him talk about it at the Oscars, there was one thing that he said specifically that really like stuck with me and I thought was a really good message. And he said, Jesus is for everybody. Doesn't matter how early you are to being a believer. It doesn't matter how late you are being a believer. You want to bring up the two men that were hanging on separate crosses along with Jesus. One of them at that certain moment in his life, he said, Jesus, don't forget me when you enter the kingdom of heaven. It was the last second of his dying breath. He gave his life to Jesus. It is never too late to give your life to God. You are never ever too far gone. It's like and like you were saying, I don't wanna ever force anything, I don't ever wanna force my religion, as people wanna say. It's if Jesus isn't for you, you do you. You don't have to love him if you don't want to. That's your decision at the end of the day. It's just over here at the All Outlets podcast, that's what we do. And it's always gonna be a big thing of our podcast, and we always want it to be known that we are firm believers in Jesus Christ. So Yeah, just before we wrapped up this podcast, I just wanted to talk about that because, like I said, should we have talked about it more? Absolutely. It is what it is, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, I just wanted to share that and just get that out there because I thought it was pretty cool seeing all these NFL players talking about it, and it really wanted to make me talk about it even more. So that
Awesome.
was pretty cool.
Love it. Fantastic. That's a great way to end. Couldn't think of a better way to end this episode. Appreciate bringing it up again. And hopefully everybody enjoys Super Bowl 60. One last time, go Hawks. And
Yeah,
not to say if Patriots, I have a lot of really good friends that are Patriots fans. It's fine. But anyway, enjoy the game, the final game of this season. We will be here with you throughout the entire offseason, combine, NFL draft, all through this thing. And appreciate you all. And for us here at the All Out Blitz podcast, God bless and peace out.
peace.